2 of 7-1 notes. We're going to start with number 1 on the homework and kind of talk about what some of these variables are. So, did you guys do number 1? Did you guys try number 1? Okay, we need to, here we go. You're going to have it. Emma, shush. Emma. Here we go.
You can try this.
Or we could not do your homework together. That would be great. Okay? We need to identify what these variables are. Okay, so let's go through step by step. We have a P hat, we have a Q hat, we have an N, E, and P. Here we go. 1,500 adults were surveyed. What's that?
N.
N, that's the number that were surveyed. So he's crossed off. We've taken care of N. And they were asked what their favorite kind of pie was. 11% chose chocolate pie. That corresponds to P hat because that is our sample, right? 11% of our sample. Now, specifically, P hat needs to be as a decimal. So don't put it as 11%, put it as 0.11. Okay, now, if P hat is 11%, what's Q hat going to be? 0.89. Perfect. Okay, so we've taken care of those. Go sit.
E is
Clayton,
plus minus
hustle.
Good deal.
All right, E. They said, and the margin of error was 4% or plus minus 4%. So E, we'll just say is plus minus 4%. Okay? Then they're saying find P. Okay? P is the population, and we don't have a definitive number for P, right? We said it. We're going to use a range. So if 11% like chocolate pie, and we know we could be off by 4%, that switches it from 11% to somewhere in between 7 and 15, right? Okay. So 0.07 and 0.15, okay? If you put it as percentages here, you can go ahead and do 7% and 15%. I am not going to be that picky for that part, okay? So there's that.
Write it like that? I just wrote 7 to 15.
Write it like this.
Okay.
From now on, write it like that. Okay?
Are we gonna write it like decimals or like percentages, or are we actually gonna figure out what 7% put that there?
No, we're going to write it as decimal because we're saying the P lives in between these two numbers.
Okay.
We're not saying N lives between these two numbers. We're saying P. Yep. Good question. Okay. All right. So that's kind of the breakdown of that. And then if the confidence level is 95%, what's the value of alpha? What's alpha at 95%? Look it up in your chart. What? 0.05. Right? Like that, I guess you didn't even have to look up on your chart. Your fish is the opposite of your percentage, right? So, what is Z for 95% if they were to ask that? Z is the critical value.
Oh, 1.96.
1.96. We're gonna need actually Z is more important for our calculations than the fish is, right? Okay, all right, so that was number 1. To clear up any confusion, we are going to be calculating, instead of them giving me the error, we're gonna be calculating the error. So they gave us that it was 4%. We're going to be finding that percentage now, okay? All right, so here we go. That's the first thing we have to do on our notes. We use this formula to do it, okay? All right, so let's pick apart this formula. E, what we're trying to find. They said in the first example it was 4%. We have to calculate it, okay? There are 4 different numbers that go into this calculation. It is the Z value. This is from the chart. Z from the chart. So based upon whether you're doing a 90%, 95%, 99%, you use that corresponding Z or the critical number from that, okay? P hat. What is P hat? This is the proportion from the sample. This was like our 36% yesterday, right? What's Q hat then?
Add it to 1.
I'm going to say opposite of P hat, if that makes any sense. Okay, what's N? Number in the sample. And that calculates your error, okay? And then you're going to add and subtract that to find where P lives in between, right? It's a very simple calculation. All right? Okay, quit with the cards. Put them away.
Okay, I got it.
All right, here we go. Constructing a confidence interval. We're going to actually do the full thing first time through. Here we go. In the chapter problem, we noted that a poll of 1,487 adults, okay? Let's write that down. What's 1,487 correspond to? You got to be quiet.
It's not.
N is 1,487. Showed that 43% have Facebook. Okay, what does that tell you? P hat is 0.43. Okay? Now, in our calculations, we need 2 other things. We need to know what Q hat is, and we need to know what the z value is, okay? So what's q hat? We can find that out right now.
0.57.
0.57, okay? All right, and then it says find the margin of error for a 95%, okay? What is z for 95%? Look it up on your chart.
Oh, God.
What?
1.96.
1.96,
That's the fish.
okay?
Oh yeah, you're right.
We don't want the fish, we
Yeah,
want the
dummy.
z. We want the
No,
z,
yeah.
okay?
Well, the chart doesn't say Z, so.
All right, so nah, I don't want it. I don't want to sum. The margin of error is z, which is 1.96. We're going to take that times the square root of 0.43 times 0.57, all divided by 1487. Now, the 1480, this calculation all needs to go underneath of the square root, that whole thing. So be careful. Then multiply it by 1.96. Tell me what you get for an error.
Give me a minute.
I want-
I don't even know what my calculator is.
I don't even have a minute.
So,
You finna die?
I hope.
Same.
I hope so.
0.0252.
okay.
0.0252. Okay? All right, what is that as a percent? 2.5% we'll say, okay? That is my error. That's my margin of error. So, how many people had Facebook?
1487.
No. What percent of people had Facebook?
What?
Wait.
43.
43% had Facebook. Well, we're saying that number could be off by as much as 2.5% on either side of 43%. So the actual P for the population is going to live between what two numbers?
Hey, homie.
Oh.
14.
40.5
What?
And?
45.5.
Do you see how this works?
This is all for part
You
Wait,
said-
is this B?
This is part B.
Okay.
You said to
What
don't.
we just did was part
You
B.
said to don't write it like that.
Wait, I'm sorry.
What?
Yeah,
You
can
got
you
the
don't?
43%
You said don't- you
from
said
the
to
question.
don't.
Don't write P hat like that.
No.
Yeah, where did you get
Mallory
part-
quit.
No.
I'm tired of
Okay,
getting
all right,
forced.
hold on.
Where did that come from?
So part A, we did all of the steps all together. So here we go. Listen. Shh.
Please.
On my knees.
Part A, you gotta listen. Shush.
Stop being suicidal.
Part A, find the margin of error. What was the margin of error?
2.5%.
2.5%, okay? Find a 95% confidence interval estimated of the proportion.
Get her.
That's the interval. That is the 40.5
Are they always gonna ask like a
to
confidence
40.5.
interval?
Yes.
Okay.
They have to tell you how confident you are, because the more confident you are, the wider the interval. Okay? Part C asks a question about it based on the results. Shush. Based on the results, can we safely conclude that fewer than 50% of adults have Facebook pages?
No.
How do I?
Yeah.
According to our interval, we're saying that the true proportion is 40.5 to 45.5. Is that fewer than 50?
Yeah.
Yes, that whole interval is less than 50. So yes,
Mallory.
Wait,
fewer
Serious.
than
43%.
50%
I'm not serious.
have Facebook.
Isn't the problem.
Needs to be serious.
Where?
I'll
Oh,
provide the
it's
guns.
up there. Okay, never mind.
I've
I
been
was
serious.
getting confused before.
Same.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Any questions about that process? We're going to do another one. You gotta listen. Shush. Questions about that process? Let's go through it again. Here we go. Let's see if we have another example. Go to the back page. Oh, we don't have another page.
Go to the homework.
We don't have another back page. We don't have another back page.
What do you do when you want to find the critical value of?
We're going to do that right now.
Well, okay.
We're going to do that right now. Okay?
I got happy.
All right, here we go. Ready? Now they're going to have us work backwards a little bit. So, the thing that's important for you to know, put this at the top of your paper, is that when we are finding P,
Ow.
we take P hat and we subtract the error to find that bottom number. And we take P hat and we add that error to find that top number, right? Okay? So here's the deal. What happens if they give me like, this is 38% and P is here and this is, I'm making these numbers up so don't kill me, 44%, right?
Then we know that.
Can I figure out what the error is and what P hat is, okay? Let's figure it out. P hat has to live exactly between these two numbers, correct? What number lives exactly between those two numbers?
41.
Did you do that by counting or how did you do that?
In my
No,
head.
I took the upper confidence
happens.
level.
Shut up,
minus the lower
Kelsey.
confidence
You
level.
took 38 plus 44 and you divided by 2. You took the average, right?
And then
okay.
I divided
I
them.
didn't.
Right? And divided by 2. Okay. Some of you didn't.
I just did
40,
simple
well,
math.
You just did
41%.
6
0.41 is P, yeah? Okay, so then what's the error? What are you adding each time and subtracting each time? 3%. Okay? So if they give you the result, you can work backwards, right? And find p hat because it's exactly between. And find the error because that's what you're adding each time. If you need to think about it as a number line, here's where p hat lives, okay? You are adding and subtracting the error to get to those two numbers.
What does,
Okay, this number right here and this number right here, p hat lives exactly in between them, right? You can find where that middle is. Okay, it's like taking the average.
what does
So if you need to write average,
what's Z in all of this?
hold on, just wait.
Oh,
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. There's the average, yeah? Okay, good. Okay, down here below, this is another work backwards one, kind of, okay? They are wanting us to, let's see, find the sample proportion and the margin of error. All right, the article, blah, 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 includes the statement of the 71 subjects. What's that mean? N is 71. 70% were abstinent from smoking for 8 weeks. So they didn't smoke for 8 weeks out of a trial period. What is 70%?
Yeah.
P hat, okay? 0.7. Q hat, we talk about him a lot in our calculations, so let's write him down. He is 0.3, okay? Use that statement to find the P hat and the margin of error. And we want a 95% confident, okay? Now, that's the other piece of information they give me. If they say 95% confident, what does that tell me?
80, 58, it's in between 50.
1.96.
Z is 1.96, right? Anytime they say a confidence level, you know your Z now, right?
Oh, I remember that now.
Okay, so they're saying E.
Hey, no.
Okay, we're trying to find the E. The formula for E is Z times the square root of P hat Q hat over N, right? Well, let's plug all that stuff in and calculate what the error is, okay? Z, we know Z, 1.96. P hat, we know P hat is 0.7. We know Q hat is 0.3. We know N is 71. Can we calculate the error? Yes, we can. Oh, we didn't even have to do this. Huh.
10.6%.
10.6%.
Why didn't we have to do this?
We didn't even have to do that.
Actually, it's 7.
They gave me this range right here. The confidence interval goes from
Said that.
58%. We didn't have to calculate it. Hat. But we're going to find out.
I factually did.
That P.
Factually,
Read the
I
whole
did it.
Blah, blah, blah. Read the whole question. Okay, so here's our two numbers. Can we figure out which number lives in between those two?
Yes.
Yes. How do you do it?
It is.
Add 'em and divide
You can add them and divide by 2. Or you can think about it in your head for a long time. 69 and a half.
That's what
Okay, so we're saying 69 and a half lives here.
No, I said that.
What do you add and subtract? What's the error?
Liars.
I factually said it.
Okay.
What are you adding and subtracting to get those two numbers?
Now I believe you.
What are you adding and subtracting to get those two numbers? 11.5?
The door.
Maya.
The door.
11.5%. So they used a different number. I don't know how that works. A 95% confidence interval. Use that statement to find the whatever. Okay, anyway.
Erica wants to be like me.
So P hat, so we must have calculated our error wrong or something. I don't know.
Whatever, Craig. Whatever.
11.5% is what they got for an error and a P hat of 69 and a half. We didn't have to do this calculation for error up here. Boop.
wait,
Just use the confidence interval to find the middle and the error on either side, yeah?
how did you find P hat when we already had
Wait,
P
is
hat?
that, is that P hat or P?
Alan has never. That's Erica Boyd.
Where did they gave us the 0.7 and It could be.
That is what the true P hat is. I'm guessing their 70% was a rounded 70%, because that's what it rounds to.
So then what? What?
I see.
We didn't need these calculations right here. Yeah, they rounded their P hat. The true P hat is 69 and a half. They rounded it to 70. So ours is accurate. Okay, last one. They're having us work backwards again. Okay, the formula for error. Write this down again. Is Z square root P hat Q hat over N. Okay, now here's the deal. Normally we're trying to find the error using this formula. Now they're going to say, okay, your error gets to be 5%. How many people do you have to survey in order for an error to be 5%? How many people do you have to survey in order for your error to be 10%? You're going to work backwards and unwind this equation for N, right?
Over how to find Z. Even with all these, we never went over how to find Z.
Z is from the chart.
No,
For
91's not on the chart.
Oh, we'll talk about that one. That's different.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Okay, Good? So we're going to work backwards here. All right, here we go. When the author was conducting research for this chapter, he could find no information. This is important because you'll have one like this on your homework. He could find no information about the percentage of adults who make online purchases. Yet the information is extremely important to online stores as well as brick and mortar stores. If the author were to conduct his own survey, how many adults must be surveyed in order for a 95% confidence level? Okay, that's the only information they're giving me. 95% tells me what? Z. And Z is 1.96. Okay, I know Z. He's done. Let's see. Assume that a recent poll showed that 80% of adults make online purchases. What's that?
That's probably just.
Is
P-hat.
P
That's
hat.
P-hat.
0.8 is P hat. Okay. Q hat is 0.2. And they say they want us to be off by an error that is no more than 3 percentage points.
Where does it say that?
Right here. It's like written out in the word 3. Okay. So that means my error has to be 3%. And I don't know if they have us written as 0.03 or 3.
3.
Is it 3? I think it's just 3, yeah. So error is 3. We're going to plug those in and we're going to solve for n. So how many people do you have to survey in order for your error to be 3? We're working backwards. So we've got 3 here. Z.
Wait, do we have to do plus minus 3?
No,
Okay.
no, not when you're solving for n. Okay?
There's two things I was very confused about in my childhood.
0.8.
Whether it was
Shush.
a free throw or a three throw,
I mean, Jen.
and whether it was
Oh, boy.
volleyball or
Volleyball.
volleyball.
I did.
All right.
I used to think it was volleyball.
Okay, here you go. Working backwards. Go.
Volleyball.
Working backwards. Go.
Volleyball.
What are you going to do first?
Square. Divide the 9.96.
Divide by 1.96.
I didn't do that. I squared it first.
Nope. You don't want to do that. You're going to get it wrong.
Then square
I
up.
would try to spell it.
Okay. What's 3 divided by 1.96?
1.53.
1.53.
Yep.
Three-pointer and a free throw, because I thought that a free throw was a free throw.
I also thought it was a 3.
Okay, now what?
Times it square.
Square it. Okay, what's that? We're going to write down every step.
2.34.
2.34 equals
0.8.
0.8 times 0.2 over n.
So then take.
Okay, now what? Hold on. We got to solve for n.
By both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah said if n is on the bottom, can we just flip these 2 around? You guys know that?
Yes.
So n equals 0.8 times 0.2 divided by 2.34. What is that?
Marcus.
It's the only thing in it.
N is how much?
0.068.
No.
That's what I got.
I
Ah.
got .0348.
Dang, we did it wrong. Okay, go again.
0.068.
It's supposed to be 0.03. Go again.
I said
Are you kidding
.03,
me?
and you told me I did it wrong.
I thought it was 3. 0.03. You got to put it in as a decimal. Sorry. 0.03. Try again. 0.03 divided by 1.96. Go.
All that work for nothing.
You did not either.
You did not either.
Okay. What? 0.0153. Okay, square
Yeah,
it.
that is good. Otherwise, you'd be right confused.
I got-
like
wait.
all these buffoons.
I got 200 or 680.
That's what you want.
Oh.
Okay.
What?
That's right, 'cause that's the amount
Take
of people.
0.0153 and square it.
Okay.
0.00024. 234. Okay. Now
Garbage.
0.000234. And when you divide that, you get what?
682.9.
I got 683.7.
No, she had one.
I also got
But I also didn't
I also
round
got
the whole
You
time.
didn't round the whole time? Okay, that's fine. You didn't retype.
Am I in
So,
trouble?
682.9.
Oh.
No shot.
This is your N.
No shot. She never had one.
All right, one more thing though. We're working backwards. We're solving for N. What does N mean?
Yes, she did.
The number of people I have to survey, right? Like the group that I have. You can't have 0.9 of a person.
Round it.
683.
683. Now, here's the deal. Here's the kicker. You got to listen to this or you're going to get it wrong. No matter what that decimal number is, you will always have to round it up. Because if this was a 1, if I round it down, now my error is going to be higher than 3%, okay? So you always round up.
Bye.
You always round up when you're solving for N. Regardless of whether it's 0.1, 0.9, whatever. You have to round that number up, okay? Now, question.
That's good.
One more question.
Gotta
Here we
keep
go.
them on their toes.
6.8.
That medal was from my pen.
It's 683. We're going to round it up to 683. We have to have a whole number person. Okay, last thing. Listen.
Are you crying?
These are things that you're going to encounter on your homework assignment. You have to listen. Emma, shush.
I know.
683 is your N. Okay? Couple things. Here we go. You always round up when you're solving for N. Got it?
Got it.
Let's say so that was with an error of 3%. If I want a 3% error, I have to survey 683 people. What if I'm allowing you to have more error? Like, let's say you are allowed to have 10% error. You have to survey more people or less people.
Less.
You can do less work, right? If you can have more error, you can do less work. So the more error you're allowed, the less work you have to do, the less people you have to survey. That's how that works, okay? Last thing, part B, we're not going to do this problem, but it says assume that we have no prior information suggesting the proportions. So we don't know p hat. Write this down. Don't know p hat. What do we use?
420.
What do we use for p hat and q hat? Well, we don't know it.
29.
50.
50%.
Yes.
P hat equals 0.5, Q hat equals 0.5. So if they don't give it to you, you assume that it's a 50-50 split, like boys and girls, right? 50-50 split if you don't have any prior knowledge of that, right?
Right.
Okay? Those are little tricky things. Okay?
You made a good inference.
Is it number 2 that's 91%? 4? Okay, go to number 4. Here's your Z. Find the critical value Z. 91%. We talked about this yesterday about how your percentile talks about the middle, 91% or 99% or 95%. They're saying find the Z-score that corresponds to that, right? 91%, okay? Now, if 91% is the middle 91%, okay, how much is here and how much is here?
Yes.
45.5.
45.5% and 45.5%. Okay, so let's pick one. Let's pick like this one. Let's find the Z value for this, okay? I'm looking at it backwards in the table. What percent is lower than that? It's not 91%. What percent is lower than this?
50.
50% plus another 45.5. So 95.5% is below this Z value, right? So what you're going to do in the table is you're going to look up 0.9550 backwards to find what the Z is. It's going to be like 2 point something. Find the number closest to 0.9550 in the table on the positive side.
1.7.
1.78? Really?
1.70.
Okay. 1.70?
What are we trying to put? 9550?
9550. 1.70. Now we could have also looked up like this number right here. If 45.5% is there, what percent is below this? 4.5%?
Yeah.
So we could have looked up on the negative chart 0.0455. What would we have gotten? Or 0.0450. What would we have gotten?
1.7.
Negative 1.7. Right? So that's how you find the Z value. You're talking about the middle 91%. You're talking about the middle 95%. They have the 95, 99, 98, 80. Those are all done for you on the bottom of the chart. But that's what you're looking for. That's what you're finding, right? Okay? Confusion?
Yes.
I'm confused
Okay.
on the next one.
Great. Express it as P hat plus and minus the error. So what's P hat? Find what P hat is.
666.
Okay, P hat is 0.666.
And plus minus.
Plus minus 0.222. That's how you get these numbers. Right?
I think just how they worded it.
Okay, there you go.
Can I
All right,
summon you?
that's all.
That's all, folks.
Yes. All right.
I need quizzes.
Do all of them. You have time to work on your homework. You got like 15 minutes. Go.
You record?